What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade. Now, I did a deck profile of this deck a couple months ago, and it has since become one of my favorite decks. I really enjoy playing this deck, and I figured I'd do another one of it, because I've definitely made some changes to it, and I made a very strong build. And without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, I run 3 Tri-Brigade Fractal. Fractal has the effect to, you can send itself from the hand or field to the grave to Foolish Burial one of your Tri-Brigade monsters. Like Kit, which is also a Foolish Burial. Nerval, which is, when sent to the grave, is a Searcher. And Karis, you can discard a Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast from your hand to special summon it. Now, all of them have the effect to, you can banish any number of Beasts, Winged Beast, or Beast Warrior from your grave to special summon a link monster whose link rating matches the number of Beast, Warrior, Winged Beasts banished. That is insane. That's what basically makes the Tri-Brigade engine so powerful. I also run the 3 Lyrilusc Turquoise Wobbler, the 2 Cobalt Sparrow, and the 1 Sapphire Swallow. Now, Tri-Brigade has kind of like 2 different engines that's competing. The Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade and Zoo Tri-Brigade. Now, the one advantage with the Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade is the fact that it works with Nerval so well. And the Lyrilusc cards are actually really good. Warbler, if you control a monster, you can special summon from the hand and a Lyrilusc monster from hand or grave. Cobalt Sparrow, when it is special summoned, you can add a level 1 winged beast. And Sapphire Swallow, if you control a winged beast and you have a level 1 winged beast in your hand, you can special summon both of them. So it's easy at getting multiple monsters onto the field. Also run 2 Rescue Cat. Rescue Cat, you can send this card from the face up. You can send this face-up card on your side of the field to the grave to special summon 2 beast monsters from their deck, but they're destroyed during the end phase. So you can basically use it to get Kit and Karis, because they're both beasts. I run 1 Mist Valley Apex Avian for negations and a Burial Statue of the Stormwinds. These are my top 2 Seamorph Bird of Sovereignty targets. For hand traps, I run 3 Lancia, and 3 Ash Blossom of Joyous Spring. Moving on to the spells. I run 3 Pot of Prosperity. Yeah, I finally actually got a full play set of Prosperity. It also helped pulling all those Ghost and Collector rares. Now, Prosperity is the draw power of choice. Originally, I was running Pot of Desires, but I just didn't like the banishing cards from the deck. And sometimes, especially if you're going first, some cards you're not going to use. If you're going first, you're not as likely to use cards like Zeus or the Lyrilusc XZ monsters. I also run the 1 Monster Reborn, because it's always a good card. 1 Called by the Grave, because just like any deck, you don't like getting hand trapped. A 1-for-1, because you have a bunch of little ones, and a Foolish Burial. That is it for the spells. Moving on to the traps. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting, because most people usually only run 2 traps in this deck, the Harpy's Featherstorm and Tri-Brigade Revolt. Well, I still run the Harpy's Featherstorm, although now I run at 3 because it's VFD during your opponent's turn. How is that not broken? Because if you control a Winged Beast monster, until the end of this turn, negate any monster effect your opponent activates. So basically, it shuts them down for a entire turn. Yeah, they still got spells and traps, but without monster effects, most of the top decks right now cannot really handle a Harpy's Featherstorm. I also run 3 Soul Drain. Now, some people might say Soul Drain kind of hurts Tri-Brigade too. Yes and no. Because most of the often in time, if you're going first, you're going to have your grave already set up. And then during your opponent's turn, you can activate Soul Drain because, you already have your grave set up, so it doesn't really matter. Essentially, it hurts your opponents more than it hurts you. And with the Lyrilusc engine, it doesn't hurt quite as much because the Lyrilusc cards activate in hand. So you can still do stuff even in like worst case scenario. And lastly, I run 1 Imperial Order. Now, the main reason I run Imperial Order is because this is going to hurt my opponent more than it hurts me, because like most of my spells, they're good spells, but they are not required. They're just, in my opinion, luxury cards. Like Prosperity, yeah, having that extra draw power is nice, but I don't need it, essentially. And this is, again, like let's say you're going against Shaddoll, the Shaddoll Invoked Dogmatica. you essentially just kill that deck because you just shut off Invocation, which is their fusion spell. So this is definitely a card that kind of like my tech, essentially. Moving on to the extra deck, I run the one Link Rebo. Doesn't come up too much, and this is usually one of my prosperity targets. I run 2 Tri-Brigade Ferret, the Baron Blossom. I wish I had Starlight Rares, but that's too expensive. Ferret, during your main phase, you special summon 1 level 4 or lower Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast monster from your hand. And it has an additional effect to when it's sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card and place 1 on the bottom of your deck. I also run 1 Tri-Brigade Rugal, the Silver Sheller. Sheller, you can special summon when you're banished. Basically, you can special summon one of your Tri-Brigades from the grave. And during the end phase, it is returned back to your hand. So you can, like, let's say it's a Fractal, for example. You can basically get Fractal back in your hand to use this effect during your next turn. I also run the 1 Omen. Now, Omen I also don't go into a lot in this particular build because I do not run the Revolt. Omen, whenever it is summoned, you can banish 1 card on the field, and whenever a Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast is special summoned to a zone this card points to, you can banish 1 card on the field. So it's pretty good, but there are other things I'd rather do. Also run the 1 Ancient Warriors Oath Double Dragon Lords. Now, Double Dragon Lords is a very useful card, especially with a barrier statue, which I will show a little bit later, maybe. Essentially what you do is it's protection for your, it protects your barrier statue. Because barrier statue is nice, but it has a low attack and defense to where, let's say you're playing Invoked, all I have to do is summon Alistair, attack into it. But with a Double Dragon Lord, you can bounce it back to your hands and their normal summon's already used up. I also run the 1 Doom Eagle. Doom Eagle I mainly run in case I need to get rid of my barrier statue to extend for more plays. I also run 2 Simorph Bird of Sovereignty. Originally I was running 1, but I decided to bump it up to 2 because if they somehow out the Bird of Sovereignty, and let's say you need another one, at least you have like a extra in case that comes up, because I have had it to where that does come up. I also run Apollousa, and the one cool thing with Apollousa in this deck is that Apollousa is a wind, so you can still use barrier statue. You can still summon it with barrier statue on field. Also run the 1 Access Code, a really good thing for. Now for the XCs, I run the 1 Assembled Nightingale. Nightingale can essentially attack your opponent directly. Recital Starling can add you a level 1 Winged Beast. Also run the 1 Downward Magician. Downward Magician can special summon itself on top of a rank 1 through 3. And also run the 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Now, one thing that I normally don't do, and that's one thing, since this is actually like my deck for the format, I'm also going to show my side deck for that I'm running. So first, I have my going second targets in Evenly Matched and Dark Ruler No More. In case I go second, I have my back row removal and Cosmic Cyclone and Harpy's Feather Duster. I run 2 Nibiru, mainly because I don't really main any outs for Dragon Link, aside from like maybe Ash. That way if my opponent happens to have Dragon Link, I can maybe substitute Nibiru in for Lancia. I also side the 1 Revolt. This one can be replaced for any additional card. And lastly is another card that has been doing pretty well, and that is Dimensional Barrier, which is proven to be pretty good against any deck that uses fusions, XYZ, and synchros. Okay, should all invoke Dogmatica, because I just really do not like that deck, especially cards like Window will really hurt this deck. And usually I'll side out some, like maybe side out Lancia or something like that for a Dimensional Barrier. Now the one additional thing I'm doing with this deck profile is I'm also going to be doing some test hands. Basically show you how the deck is played and all that. Okay, I have it shuffled up pretty good. It's 3, 4, 5. So this is our opening hand. Not bad. So what I would do first is I would normal the Rescue Cat, tribute the Rescue Cat, give me a kit, and a Karis. And the one good thing about Rescue Cat is that it does not negate. It's So now I would link 2 into our copy of Tri-Brigade Ferret, the Barren Blossom. Of course, effective kit allows you to send one, so I will send the Nerval, and the effective Nerval will allow me to add a Tri-Brigade, so I will add the Fractal. Now I'll use the effect of Ferret to special Fractal from hand. Now I'll use the effect of Fractal to banish 2. Let's see, I'll move my deck back. To go 4, or no, I banished 3. Force some more Bird of Sovereignty. Now, in hand, I will send my Sapphire Swallow to special Karis. Now I'll use the effect. Now I will link 3 into Silver Sheller. And of course, the effect of Ferret allows me to draw a card. And we get an Ash, so I'll just add that one right back. Now use the effect of Karis to banish 2. For Ancient Warriors, Double Dragon Lords. Now, here we can do 2 things. We can link 4 into Omen, which is, let's see, what do I have in grave? Not much, so that is what I'll do. Sometimes I'll just stick with Sheller, but in this scenario, I'm actually going to go into Omen. Then I'll attempt to end phase, and the effect of Sovereignty will activate to special summon the Barrier Statue. Now at this point, my opponent is locked into only special summoning when monsters. I can bounce a card, and depending on what my opponent is playing, I have an Ash and Lancia in hand. So as you see, it's easy to make boards in this. And that is essentially the ideal board. You want the Sovereignty, the Stormwind, and the Ancient Warrior's Oath. I'll do another test hand. These go in the extract. I guess this time, let's say we're going second. And like, what kind of board would I build for that? So already looking pretty good. Now, since we're going second, we get to draw 1. It's Lancia. It's cool. So effective Warbler, special, effective Sparrow. That will bring me out Nerval. Now, multiple things I can do here. I can send Apex Avion off of Karis, or the first thing I can do right here is to link, or not link, XC into Assembled Nightingale. And with Nightingale, it can attack directly, so I attack directly, then go into the Downward, then to the Zeus. So then I'll use the effect of Zeus, attach 2, to blow up my opponent's board and send everything to the grave. Now I can also use the effect of Karis to send the Apex Avion special itself. And I can still also normal summon Nerval even, which I will do that. Now I have several plays here. First, Karis banishing 2 to get the Ferret, which I have right here. Then I would link 3 into my Smorph Bird of Sovereignty to special, which would allow me to draw 1, place 1 on the bottom, wouldn't really matter. So now you're basically end turn on this, and well, unfortunately, now what I probably would have done it different because I kind of misplayed here. Is instead of using Karis' effect to banish, I would have used Nerval's because they're both at the same time. So now I do Karis to banish 2, And then you got your double Dragon Lords. So that's essentially like you're going first and second kind of plays. Now if you're playing the Zoo version, it's obviously going to be different. Yeah, that's all for this video. Now, what do you think about this deck profile? Do you think Tri-Brigade's pretty cool? Do you think it has tier 1 potential? Because it's kind of bordering on tier 1. I think it needs a little bit more of a push to kind of like transition into that tier 1 status. And what do you think about the test hands? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.